Hey everybody, it's Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Thursday, March 12th, 2020. We again find ourselves in the final hour of the trading day. As I mention each day, I believe the most valid prices to make your buying and selling decisions are the prices that are as close as you can get them to the close of the market. During the day, you have the algorithms, you have the day traders battling it out, fighting it out. I consider it mainly noise. At the end of the day, in the last hour, in the last few minutes of the day, the large financial institutions come in with size. They're the most well capitalized. They have the best technology, information, very smart people, and so they take the prices, the control of the prices away from from the day traders and the algorithm during the day. So that's where I prefer to make most of my buying and selling decisions, our end of day buying and selling decisions. Did have a couple day trades today. I'll share those with you today, but there's so much volatility in the market right now. It does give an opportunity for some good day trades where when the market's not volatile, it's moving 20, 30, 40 cents. It's really not enough. But on days like today, when the market is swinging wildly, it does give you an opportunity. So I'll share those trades with you in a bit. So anyway, Evan, good to see you. How you doing? Dan, what a day, Greg. Man, I'll tell you what. It's surreal, Dan. It really is. Quad Racer, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Hey, Kamal, good to see you. Hey, Greg and all. Still sitting in cash. Tried to buy dip on Microsoft, and Google took a small loss and out. Looks weak here. It's extremely weak. It's unbelievably weak. Glenn is here. Hey, Greg, tomorrow would happen to be Friday the 13th. Oh, that's true. Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, Zach, good to see you. Hey, Frank, how you doing? Hi, Joe, good to see you. Appreciate all of you coming by each day. Really nice to have you here, and always look forward to it. Christopher is here. Good to see you. Good to see you, Chris. All right, well, let's take a look at this carnage and see what's happening. Okay, so the Dow is down 2,000 points. This has to stop. This is insane. This is the second 2,000 pointer down I have seen. It's just epic. I don't know any other way to describe it. It's historic. We have given back 2.5 years of gains in 3 weeks, if you can imagine that. Oh, let me see here. Wrong graphic. Take a look at this. It's from Eddie Elfbean on Twitter, at Eddie Elfbean. 2.5 years of gain gone in 3 weeks. It's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine. Listen, I'm down on the year, but I'm grateful that I'm down much, much less than the market. Obviously wish I was up, but being primarily a long side trader, there has not been a lot of situations to have made money, but in this situation it's really about capital preservation. It's about sitting on your hands, not doing anything. But I would like to say also that there's so much fear in the market that people are going to be hesitant to take signals if they come, and that's the other side of trading. Sitting on your hands, not doing anything when you're not supposed to, yes, but taking a trade when you do not want to, in my opinion, I think you should take that trade if you have a proper signal, even if you don't want to. So, it's a fine line for sure. So, yeah, Dow is down 2,025 points. It's down 8.6% today. NASDAQ is down 628 points. It's down 7.9%. And the S&P is down 223 points, down 8.13%. So again, the NASDAQ is the best performing. It's a bad performer, but it's the least worst performing out of the 3. So, okay. Hey, Joe, good to see you. Joe has a poem for us. Joe says, this market is crazy. It has nothing. Okay, sorry. This market is crazy, has nothing to hide, and it will take you for a ride. I took some days off and stayed out of reach, and I had the best time while down at the beach. Very good. Let me try that one more time. The market is crazy, has nothing to hide, and it will take you for a ride. I took some days off and stayed out of reach, and I had the best time while down at the beach. Yep. Well, down at the beach definitely sounds better than being in this market, Joe. Thank you so much for the poem. As always, always look forward to you and Frank's poems. Bob is here. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here, sir. Hello, Deanne. Nice to have you. Nice to have you here. I hope you're having a nice day. JT, hi, Greg. Am worried next Friday options expiration will be ugly. Are you talking about tomorrow, Friday, or today, a week from Friday? Good to see you, JT. Marco, hi all. Good to see you, Marco. Bing He. Hey, Greg, lousy day for my SAP. Gonna cut loss later. Oh, you know what? I already took SAP off of the board. I thought that you had gotten out of that yesterday, but yeah, that makes sense. Yep. It's a bad day for everything, anything long. Glenn, markets are too risky. I'm old enough to remember 1987. Please be careful. Best to stand aside and wait for daily swings to normalize. VIX is signaling 3% swings for the next day. Yeah, not bad advice. Not bad advice. I remember 1987 also. I wasn't trading then, but I do remember that. That was terrible. Poem from Frank. When a market turns into an abyss, a trader starts asking, why am I doing this? No one likes a bottomless pit. As your rules say, quit and just sit while the money leaves lickety-split. When a market turns into an abyss, a trader starts asking, why am I doing this? No one likes a bottomless pit. As your rules say, quit and just sit while the money leaves lickety-split. Yep. Very nice, Frank. Thank you. The money has definitely been leaving lickety-split. I can't tell you how many calls I've had from people and from traders that are just besides themselves. Ugh. Yeah, this is a game changer. This is a game changer for sure. So, all right. Well, listen, here's the plan for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about my current positions, when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them going forward. Don't look like I have any other trades up on the board here from anybody today. I did take a couple day trades in Apple. One really good, one not so bad. So between the two, luckily it was positive, but I'll show you those. After that, we're going to talk about trader psychology. Of course, trader psychology is the most important part of trading. It's very, it's important to learn how to trade and to identify charts, support, resistance, entries, exits, all that kind of stuff. But the real skill in trading, what's going to keep you in the game, is being able to create a plan and follow your plan. And, emotions are ramped up so high right now with markets. You see a little uptick, everybody jumps in and immediately gets sold off. So, my best advice, and like I said, from the people who have called me, my best advice is, look, make sure you have some kind of plan, follow the plan, either to enjoy it to the upside, or if you take a loss, just get out, take that loss and wait for another setup. I know people have had huge losses. Everybody wants to make these losses back quick. I completely understand that. But trying to make losses back quick is really the worst way in the world, or the best way in the world to lose more money quickly. So it's a real fine balancing act right here. But so we are going to talk about trader psychology. Hopefully by me pounding this into your head every day, hopefully it has a bit of a positive effect. Oh, look at this right here on this 5-minute chart here. I like this potential V2 on this 5-minute bar. Here's day one, here's day two. Day two washes out day one. I'd have to wait till the close of the day to see, or the close of this bar, to see whether or not this is going to be a valid V2. I like it with the double bottom here and the washout. So I'm not taking this, but we'll see what happens. So, okay, let me run the U.S. legal disclaimer and I will be back. About 40 seconds. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. Okay. Hey Gamer, good to see you, my friend. Always nice to have Gamer here. All right, well, let's take a look. I have one overnight SPY trade. Here's the SPY trade in case we have some new viewers. I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I sell it first thing in the morning. It has been a horrendous approach over these last 3 weeks, but you know, it is one of my approaches, and I do it every day, and I don't want to get into the habit of picking and choosing when I do it and when I don't. But this is from Liz Ann Saunders. This back test is from 1993 at Bespoke Invest. We have two approaches here. Approach number one, buy the SPY at the open each day, sell it at the close. If you did this every day, buy the open, sell the close, buy the open, sell the close, every day since 1993, you've actually returned a negative 13.9% return. However, if you did the opposite, which is what I do, I buy the SPY at the close each day, sell it first thing the next morning. So if you use this approach every day, plus 634.2% compared to minus 13.9%. You can see the equity chart over time. The buy in the afternoon, sell in the morning has done very well. Over time, the buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon has not done well. You know, so far this has had an outstanding edge, but there are ups and downs in this, and I am definitely in a down move now. But like I say, different approaches have different results at different times. I'm really not going to start choosing when I do it and when I don't. Obviously, I wish I had not over the last 3 weeks, but at the very least, what I am grateful for is that I have reduced my position. So got clobbered again today. This was my only position here. I got clobbered again today. This morning I sold it at 274.36, sold it this morning at 256.05. So took a licking here, but luckily it was a half position, so I have to be happy and thankful for that. Glenn says market. Oh, okay, I read that one. Gamer Frank says these are not charts. They are psychological ink blot tests. Yeah, well, that's a good point. I mean, really, what are charts? Charts are just tracking human psychology and emotions of buying and selling, right? That's exactly what they are, Frank. All right, let's take a look over here on a couple day trades that I did. So I had a nice trade here back on this 5-minute bar earlier here, 10:55. Here we have the green triangle. We have a low, we went higher than the low and then closed below. So we had a V1 to the downside. The next bar took out the high of the first day bar here. I bought it here at 252.33. 10 minutes later, I sold it at 258.18. So that was, you know, like a 6-point gain or so, close to a 6-point gain on Apple. Amazing, in literally 10 minutes. I got out here when it rejected the downward sloping 50-day moving average, but it was over a 2% move, so I'm grateful for that. It kept going up. I was like, well, I guess it's going up without me. Then it came back down. I took another stab at it here when we had, you can see we had a lot of volume going to the upside. We came down, volume started to get lower, which I interpreted as not distribution, just a little bit of profit taking. I did buy it again here when we bounced off the 10-day. It's going to use that as my stop. I got in here at 261.45, moved up immediately, and then immediately, but then it closed here, had the V1 to the downside, and I got out. I was a little late on the trigger. I should have got out here at 260.16, but I got out at 259. So on this one, I lost $2.50. Over here, I made $6. So at least on the two, I netted a profit on that, which is good. Have not had that for a while. Look at this huge rally we just had here, an immediate sell-off. So anyway, grateful to at least have a net profit on those. But other than that, that's it. And I do like to show you my trade confirmation. So yeah, you can see I sold the SPY at 256.05 this morning. Then I bought Apple at 252.33, sold it at 258.18, bought it at 261.45, and then basically sold it at 259.99. So basically 259. So anyway, those are my trades. Sorry, I can't get this over here. All right. So how's everybody else doing today? Any positions today that anyone had? Any day trades? Any trades whatsoever? I know Bing He got beat up on SAP. Sorry about that. I'll tell you what though, I am very, I try to always be grateful. And what I'm grateful for today is that I got out of my positions yesterday. And I know a bunch of you are happy that we got out of positions yesterday. I mean, I was in the queues yesterday. I got out here when I got in when it closed above the 200, got out, and then it just dumped, right? What were some other ones we had? Google, a couple people were in Google. They got out here. Never easy to take the loss, but, definitely glad they took the loss there. Amazon, nice signal with the close under the 200, over the 200. Had to get out yesterday. Never fun to lock in that loss, but of course, really happy. I mean, look at Amazon's down 131 points today. It's down 7.21%. It's insane. It literally is insane. Okay, so listen, this is the time of the day where I do like to talk about trader psychology. There's a lot of good channels out there on Facebook, on Twitter, from traders, experienced traders, market wizards. They spend a lot of time and energy putting out good words of wisdom for us, good trading words of wisdom. And, I look through these, I go through them each day. When I find something that I think would be helpful for the group, I like to highlight it. So this is from Mark Minervini, very famous trader, market wizard at Mark Minervini on Twitter. If you have not subscribed, I would really suggest you do. It's a great channel. He knows what he's doing. And let's take a look and see what Mark has said. There is no shame in losing money on a stock trade. It's part of the business of speculation. But to hold on to a loss and let it get bigger and bigger, or even worse, to add to a loser, is amateurish and self-destructive. So true. I mean, look, stock traders, no shame in taking a loss on a trade. I mean, we lose all the time. That's just part of trading. I mean, I wish trading was all winning. That would be fantastic. But it's not. So, you're going to have losses. It's just part of it. There's no shame in it. Because we are in the business of speculation, right? That's our business. So there's wins and losses, and we have to be able to take both of them in stride. But to hold on to a loss and let it get bigger and bigger, or even worse, to add to a loser, is amateurish and destructive. And it is. And, just getting back to the Amazon trade, right? I bought Amazon. We closed back above the 200. Thought I had some good resistance back underneath it. Went under the third ATR channel, negative third ATR channel, over. All sorts of good stuff. False breakout. But I got out. Imagine if I would have held this thing. Imagine if I would have added more to it. It would be an unmitigated disaster today. And then if I couldn't get rid of it there, how can I get rid of it here? Right? So, good advice from Mark. But if you have a loss, just go ahead, get out of it. I know you want to make it back quick. try not to do that. It's one of the best ways to lose a lot of money quickly, is trying to recoup a loss quickly. I know you've all heard this before. It's been said a million times, but the reason it's been said a million times is because it's true. And kind of a corollary to that, this is from Uzair Hussein. This is over on New Traders, Rich Traders on Facebook. Glenn Dallin. I actually don't know who Glenn Dallin is, but I do like the saying, master yourself because you will never master the markets. And it's true. It's just like you're never going to master golf, right? Or a sport like that. But master yourself because you will never master the markets. And mastering yourself means having discipline. I talk about it all the time. It's the greatest skill that you can have in trading, is having discipline, following your plan, taking trades that you don't want to, not taking trades that you do want to, right? But you have to master yourself. That's why so few people make money in this market, because their emotions get the best of them. So if you're creating a plan, not following that plan, you need to work on yourself, whatever it takes. Get somebody to oversee your trades, whatever it takes. I don't care what kind of solution you have, but in order to make money in this long term, you have to follow your plan. And again, take trades that you don't want to take, not take trades that you do want to take, follow your plan, position sizing, all that kind of stuff. So master yourself because you will never master the markets. Okay. Well. Where are we at the moment? Down about 2,000 points. So look, I'm going to go down through my list of stocks here, see if there's any potentials for today. When I look for a potential trade, I have 3 requirements. Requirement 1, I need to look for a confluence or a combination of indicators. I look at indicators as different groups of buyers, and you're going to put yourself in the best position to have a profitable trade if you're in with as many other groups of buyers as possible. And so when I see a combination or a confluence of indicators lining up, I look at that as a combination or a confluence of potential buyers. That's requirement 1. Requirement number 2, want to make sure that I have a good risk to reward. If I'm going to be risking $100, I want to be able to make at least 200 or more to the upside, based upon some kind of legitimate support, resistance above me and legitimate support below me. I can have a confluence of indicators, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's in the right area for me to take the trade. I may have a good confluence, but I may not have a good risk reward. And then number 3, so important right now, is correlation. Most stocks right now are going to go up and down together. So, you don't want to have 3 or 4 or 5 tech stocks. You want to diversify it out. Maybe have 1 tech stock, maybe have 1 healthcare stock, maybe have 1 auto stock, tobacco stock, whatever, right? But in addition to diversifying as far as within stocks and stock industries, it's also important, if possible, that you have a position, outside of equities like oil or gold or bonds or something like that. So, and then no matter how many positions that you have, your total account heat is very important. I never, ever, ever, ever have 60% of my capital in the market at any one time. And, in the recent market conditions, you can see why that was definitely a good idea. I mean, if the market's going up and it's a trending market, sure, buy and holders are going to do better than me. That was last year, right? Sure, I mean, I did fine last year, but buy and holders kicked my butt. But this year, because I'm a swing trader, because I don't allocate all of my money, I'm down a little this year, but nowhere near what the markets are down for the buy and holders. So, there's pluses and minuses, but I prefer not to be a boom and bust investor where I make tons of money to the upside and lose tons of money to the downside. I want to be a little bit more proactive with it. But, let's not be buying a lot of stocks here that are just going to move together. You're just doubling. If you have 2 or 3 positions, you're just doubling your risk if the market goes down. Okay. take a look here. Well, let's just mosey on down here, kind of break down some of these charts. We'll break them down on different time frames, so forth. Apple. Well. Interesting. Now, I have puts on Apple down to 245 tomorrow. If it closes above 245, I get to keep all the premium. However, if it closes below 245, I'm going to be required to buy the shares at 245. Right now, we're at 253, close to 253. So I have about 8% protection. I didn't take a large position. Apple pretty strong, still above its 200. Not a lot of stocks are above its 200-day moving average. So, my plan was I'm sticking with this unless it closes below my strike price, which it has not. So I'll try to run out the clock tomorrow and we'll see what happens. Ramble Ron, one of my fellow technicians working in a house yesterday for 3 hours at the end. Here's the customer over the phone telling her boss that she's in self-quarantine because she just came back from Italy. Oh, wow. Apparently she doesn't know what self-quarantine means. She's out working, huh? Good to see you, Ramble. Always nice to have Ron here. So Apple, one of the few that's still above the 200-day. Let's look over at the weekly chart. Right down here at the 50-week EMA. It's got clobbered, obviously, with everything else. But, as far as a trade here, I don't see it. Potentially in the future, a close under the 200, a close over, definitely would be a good spot. You'd have a nice confluence with the 200-day and with the 30 RSI. So I do have a position in this with puts. Tomorrow, we'll see how it works out. But nothing today. Adobe gapped way down, rallied up hard, but rejected the 200-day above. So no trade for me here on Adobe. Let's take a look at the weekly here. Holding the negative third ATR channel still, that might be a magnet down here. So that may have further to go. I don't know. Amazon has thoroughly lost the 200-day moving average and has pulled away from it to the downside. 3169 RSI. I don't think it's gone under 30, over 30 here yet either. Boeing is, it's just a hot mess. Look at this move down. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable on a company like Boeing. Down 15% today. I think yesterday it was down 18%. Over 30% loss in 2 days. It's just unreal. Nothing I can do with Boeing. Berkshire Hathaway, well, it did bounce off the 30. It did bounce off the 30 and go back up. Now it's underneath the 30. Pretty scary place here. RSI Divergence, though, I gotta say, see how we have a low, and then we have a lower low, and we have a lower low. We have this reading here on the RSI, even though we go lower on the price, it's higher, and this one is much lower and looks like to be even, if not maybe a little bit over. So I'll mark that. Beyond Meat was down over 10% earlier in the day. Under 30, over 30, but that's about it. So I'm going to pass on that. Caterpillar down 9% today. It's insane. It's insane. Is Caterpillar going out of business? Who knows? Look at this chart. It's just surreal. DDM, double leverage, Dow down 17.84%. This is why double leverage is so brutal. Not that I don't take these trades, but I'm out real quick if I'm wrong. So nothing there. Here's the Dow. Looks like we're under a 30 RSI here. So nothing on the Dow. Walt Disney, oh, oy vey. Down 12.31% today. Under the 30 RSI, big gap. You know, hopefully for Disney investors and long-termers will at least close that gap, but nothing I can do on Walt Disney. Etsy, down a mere 13.5%. Etsy was very strong up until the last few days. I mean, it was actually in an uptrend, but has just got hammered to the downside. 31.26, nothing I can do with Etsy. Facebook, gap down, reverse back up. Looks like we're going to close under 30 RSI as well, so nothing on Facebook. Let's take a quick look at the weekly. Bounced at the 100 week, just sliced right through the 200, so nothing there. Gold, look at this. Gold was down like $70, right? Kind of counterintuitive. You think what gold may have gone up in a market like this, but it got hammered as well. I mean, everything is, I mean, the only thing up are bonds and VIX. I mean, look at Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down 22.85% today. I mean, you know, it's a broad sell-off. I'm sure there's margin calls coming into play. Google tried to rally earlier in the day, but has given it up. Goldman Sachs down 11% today. I mean, let's take a look at the weekly here. Down at the 6 ATR channel on the week. That's about it. Just completely bearish. Home Depot, gap down, reverse back up, tag the 3rd ATR channel. It came right back down. Looks like it has rejected the 30 RSI here, but I'm not touching that. IBB, massive down day. You know, this is another example of, you know, we had some people in the group take IBB here, bounced at the 30, moved up nicely, but thankfully they got out yesterday when it lost the 200-day, which was their initial stop. If it would have gone back up, would they have been frustrated? Well, sure, right? But not feeling a lot better about this now that it's down 7.9, almost 8%, and they got out. Intel down 9%, pulling away from the 200-day moving average. Let's take a look over at the weekly. You know, on the weekly, down here at about 43, we may have some support here at the 200-week moving average. But, you know, I like to look at stocks on 2 time frames to see if, you know, get a confluence of support on a couple time frames. But nothing here on Intel. Russell 2000 down 10.77%. Looks like it's definitely the weakest of the indexes. You know, I do manage an account, a friend of mine, and thankfully we bought some puts right up here. I mean, this is almost quadrupled in about the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So anyway, thankful for that. Johnson & Johnson holding above 30, but that's about it. CarMax just getting decimated, you know, 10%. On the weekly, we have bounced off the 200-week moving average. So, I mean, at least that's somewhat positive. We have lost the 30 RSI also on the weekly, which is very, very weak, but I don't see anything here. Hey, Steve Burns, good to see you, my friend. Always an honor and privilege to have you here, Steve. Steve says, I've been on the phone for hours today talking to friends and family, freaking out over the stock market and coronavirus. Yes, me too. Me too. Well, they have a good person to call. That's for sure. That's for sure. What was your advice and feedback to them, Steve, if you don't mind? Be interesting. I have a feeling I know what it is, but I don't want to speak for you. But yeah, I feel you. I've had phone calls for the last few days. It's hard to really know what to tell somebody. Frank says, you know, it's bad when they slaughter fake meat like Beyond Meat. Yes, sir. Truth, truth, truth. Coca-Cola, look, I mean, 10% down today, just in one day. Let's take a look over at the weekly. Yeah, sliced through its last support, which is the negative third ATR channel and the 100. You know, down here, 44, maybe $3 lower, may find some support, at least on the weekly time frame. Kamal says, yeah, what advice do you guys give out? I have a bunch of calls. Yeah. You know, it's tough. It depends if you're talking to trader people or it depends if you're talking to long-term buy-in holders. You know, trader people, I'd say, you know, just wait for your signals, wait for a legitimate signal, sit on your hands until it happens. Long-term holder people, you know, I can talk to them about staying out of the market under the 200-day moving average, but they don't quite maybe understand that or look at that enough, so forth and so on. For those kind of longer term investors, I've been telling them, well, just, you know, nibble, maybe buy a little here. If you have some cash on hand, just nibble. And if it keeps going down, nibble a little bit more. But, you know, dollar cost average, it's not a bad way to go if you have a long-term time frame. Kamal says, I am using the Gossett mantra of have a plan to the downside and upside and take your stop losses. Yep, for sure. For traders, they understand that, right? But for long-term investors, it's different advice. Steve says, the odds are we're going to a recession and could see a 50% correction due to the loss of worldwide GDP, but I will trade the price action signals. Yes. Yep. Let's take a look here. Hey, I just got an email telling me that my channel is live. How about that? Mount Doji, what's going on, sir? Good to have you here. Steve says, I also told them to focus on their time frame and investing or trading systems and not care about my opinion. I just focus on playing the historical probabilities. Yep. Okay, where were we? Coca-Cola down 10%. This is a little surprising. It's a little bit of a defensive move, like I say here on the weekly, slice through the negative third ATR channel, 100-day moving average. You know, I may have to start taking some more looks on trades on the weeklies because it's the only thing that has support underneath us. Okay. So now we're down 2,123 points. You know, it's not a good sign that the Fed came out today, said that, you know, they were going to, you know, have some stimulus and some plans in that respect. And the market did rally quickly on that really fast, but it petered out. I mean, and now we're back down at the lows. It's not a good sign. It is not a good sign. Usually the market should rally decently on that and has not. Oh, sorry. Lockheed Martin under 30 RSI. Let's take a look at the weekly. Maybe down here on the weekly, a 200 week moving average. It's still about 11, 12, 13 points away. So, you know, I'm actually going to be starting to turn my attention to weeklies here in the coming days because that's the only place where I'm seeing support. MasterCard down 7.67%. You know, it looks like it rejected the 30 RSI. It does look like, at least to date. It did bounce off the 100-week moving average. I do kind of like that. You know, this is a potential. Tell you what, though, if I do take any trades today, they're going to be quarter percenters. Not 10 percenters, not fives, 2.5 percenters. Let me see here. All right. Mickey D's down 6.6%. And looks like it did bounce off of the 30 over the 30. Holding the negative third ATR channel here. Look at Merck, double bottom with the bullish divergence. Here's the bottom. We rally, we got some green. Now we've come back down. We are lower than this previous low, or at least we were. MACD is much less than this over here. Was there enough of a trigger? No, didn't go under 30, over 30. Microsoft did give up the 200-day moving average, so Apple's about the only one that I see that's holding above the 200 in the big tech sector. Let's take a look over here at the weekly, holding support right there at the 50-week moving average. Netflix just hammered today, lost the 200-day. Weekly did bounce off the negative 1 ATR channel. It's just so difficult. It's just so difficult to buy anything here. I mean, there's so much volatility and there's so much fear. And I mean, you could have another 10% down day tomorrow. No problem whatsoever, right? Nike just hammered over 10%. Let's look over at the weekly. Nothing there. Nothing there. Next stop on Nike, possibly down here at the 200-day. That's still 5-6 points away. Philip Morris down 8.9%. Did go under 30, over 30, but that's about it. Does have a little bit of bounce here at the negative third ATR channel, but I don't think I'm going to mess around with Philip Morris. PayPal, weekly did bounce at the 100-week moving average. Let's take a look here. Bounced at the low 30s. Well, the Qs under 30, back over 30. It's okay, but I don't like that it lost everything here on the 100-week moving average. Yeah, I'm probably gonna pass on that unless we could close back above this 100-week moving average and then back above the 30. Silver just got walloped. This is another trade. I got in here, hit a profit target, luckily, but then had to get out here. But good thing I did use that as my stop, right? Because it just got hammered today, unbelievably hammered. The SPY had that overnight SPY trade, kicked my butt, but luckily it was only a half position. I will be buying that again today, half position. SSO down 16%. That's insane. Interesting. Here's bonds. Bonds down again today. Down again. Tesla just cratering. On the weekly, we are coming back into the value zone. So, we might find some kind of V1, V2 return to value on the weekly, but who knows? Twitter. Did it go under 30, over 30? Bounced right at about the 30. Weekly bounced right at the 100. What I'd really like to see, I'd like to see an up day where we had some big volume. We've had a couple big reversal up bar days, but they have not been on any volume. I don't know if any of you have read How to Trade Stocks by William O'Neill, but when he talks about volume, he's like, I like to see a bottom or buy bottoms when the up day, when the current day takes out the high of the previous day with twice as much volume to the upside. And we had that rally a couple days ago, but it was on pretty light volume. United Airlines down 22%. I mean, it's insane. Just today. I mean, we were here back in November, we were at $94. We've lost almost 59% of the value in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, in 1 month. It's surreal. Natural gas, nothing there. UNH, lost both the 200 and the 250. Oil, 5%. I mean, it is kind of hanging out in this range here. We're only at 21 RSI. Let's take a look at the weekly. Man. VIX up a mere 22.8% today. My goodness. My goodness. Look at this VIX here, though. We've made new highs here. The volume's not that high. So, not messing around with that. Verizon. Under 30, over 30. I imagine people are going to be paying their phone bills. Walmart, look at this. Look at this gap down. Look at this huge reversal. Look how we exactly pegged the 250-day that acted as resistance above now. Energy sector down 12.65%. Insane. Financials down 9.41%. You know, I took financial trade here when we went under 30, over 30, got hammered the next day. No fun, but could you imagine if I would not have gotten out, not taken my signals? You'd give your left leg to have gotten out up here compared to down here. Real estate, well, look at this. Down 8.62%, but at one point today, real estate was down 21%. Just today. So I'm not going to mess with that. Utilities down 9.54%. And healthcare. Looks like it rejected the 30. Let's go over to the weekly. Still has the 200-day below it. Doesn't give a whole lot of potentials here. So I believe what I'm going to do here is wait and see if MasterCard is going to close above the 30. I like we've gone lower, lower, lower. The MACD was lower here, higher, higher, low here, higher, low here. I like on the weekly that we have rejected the 100-week moving average. But again, I'm only going to take a quarter position here because of the volatility. And I normally would only take a half position anyway because that's under the 200-day moving average. But I take a half position. I'm cutting that in half again because of the volatility. So thankfully, I don't have any positions I have to get out of. Boy, feels pretty good, right? To be in cash. Whew. Dan says, thanks, Steve. My guess was we at least undercut lows of 2018. That's where I will get interested in buying. Steve says, the Fed monetary policy is useless with this level of fear and uncertainty with the real effect on business. I agree, 100%. But it also would help. Right? I mean, it's not going to solve anything, but it should help a little with some fear. I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess what I'm saying. Frank says, the market will push traders more into day trading in order to overnight chaos. Yes, I agree, Frank. Steve says, that was the biggest drop in the European stock market of all time for one day. Deanne says, watching INO and CODX yesterday, didn't take a position. Ooh, it's a crazy one, huh? Ooh, big up and then reversal. Steve says, yeah, VIX keeps going higher. No Vega crush yet. It is expanding. Historical run-up in volatility. Yes. Any thoughts on ATVI? Well, nice bounce off the 200 on the daily. On the weekly, it also has support at the 200-day moving average. Not bad. 200-week moving average. What are we at? A 39.16 RSI. I don't know if the risk to reward's great at this point because your risk is probably down here at 200. Your reward, you're probably going to run into some resistance up here. So I like the big bounce off there, but to me it feels a little chasey, and to me Mount Doji, it just doesn't seem to give the correct risk to reward. Bing He says, cut loss for SAP, worst trade for the year I had. Sorry to hear that, bud. Sorry to hear that. Tupperware. Oh, well, that's a nice V1 there, isn't it? Nice V1 for sure. MACD's getting close to crossing. It's up 20% today. Oh, it's a $2 stock. Well, I guess I could see where Tupperware might be. People might like Tupperware in this day. Still under the 30 RSI though, Deanne. Dr. Jorgen says that also pouring rain here in the desert, so no sunshine on the market or the desert. Yeah, you might be stuck inside today. Frank says the technicals and fundamentals are mixing to form nitroglycerin. Yes, 100%. All right, where are we at? Okay, we're only down 1,900. If I told you a month ago, I would say we're only down 1,900, you would think I'd freaking lost my mind, right? You know, we do have an under 30, over 30 on Qs, but, you know, if I look over on the weekly, it's lost its support there. So I'm not going to do anything with the Qs. MasterCard, I do like the bounce off the 200-week moving average and the under 30, over 30. Let me just confirm that. Yeah. So yeah, I know. Looks like a really risky trade. I completely understand that, but I do like the under 30, over 30. I do like the low, lower, lower on the price and the low, higher, low on the RSI. But again, it has to close over 30, and because on the weekly also we have the support of the 200. But like I said, I'm only taking a quarter position on this one. Only taking a quarter position if I take it. Let's take a look what Apple's doing. Let's go on a little earlier time frame, see what's happening here. It's going to be interesting to see what this close is. Oh my. Look at this big, huge move up and complete reversal. Whoa. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. So MasterCard may not even be in the running now. Same thing with MasterCard. Anybody see any news? Fed to pump more than $1 trillion, and the market didn't even care. Look at Exxon, everybody, down 10.6%. Unreal. Wow. Mount Doji saw Tupperware today. I don't think it's the first time I've ever seen Tupperware. Bob says, these two healthcare stocks seem to always be fighting the trend. CNC and MOH. CNC is up today. Nice V1. And MOH. Big reversal off the bottom. Deanna Christensen says LRN. Wow. Wow, wow. Big, huge move. K12 Inc. Wow. Well, yeah, I don't think I would buy it here. The price just so high up against that resistance. Mount Doji says, contemplating not doing my overnight trade. I don't blame you. I haven't hit the panic mode, but I can say I'm much more worried but for what this is simply doing to our world. I agree. Evan says, I'm wondering if SAVE will survive this. Oh, boy. All right, so we have 1 minute left. See what happens here to MasterCard. What's happening here? All right, doesn't look like I'm taking MasterCard. It closed below. Okay. I did buy half the position here on SPY. At 248.11. 248.11. That's insane. Half position. So that's it. So here we go. Buy SPY 248.11. And no MasterCard. Down 2,352 points, basically 10%. Wow. Glenson, if we follow 2008 playbook, we close below the 2,500 and test 2018 lows around 23.43. Watch for a 11% bounce on Monday with Fed and Trump pulling out all guns over the weekend. Evan says, Nostradamus Glenn. I agree. Nostradamus has been right on spot on, 100%. Now Doji said, yeah, I'm not touching anything. Yep, Bing He, there is heavy selling in the last 5 minutes. Yes, there was. Kamal, Apple gunning for 200A, SMA, no trades. Yep, me either, except for the overnight SPY trade. I'll tell you what, I feel pretty happy that I was able to pull something out on this day trade. In case some of you hadn't been there, I did buy Apple here at 252.33. We had this higher low formation here. We had the green triangle, which means the previous bar. We had a high, we went above it, came back below it. When this bar's price went above, I got in. It moved quick, so I got a little worse feel. I got in at 252.33. I got out here when it rejected the 50-day moving average at 258.18. So 252.33 to 258. So that was like a nice, near 6-point move. It just went higher without me. I jumped in here again at 261. We had big strong move up, but then we pulled back. Volume decrease, which I did like to see because that indicates to me not so much distribution, but a little profit taking. I got back in here at 261.45 and then got out here at 259. So I lost about $2.50 here, but made close to $6 on that one. So at least that, helped a little bit. And then I didn't take any. I mean, look at the last 5 minutes, like Bing He said. I mean, look at this huge rally and immediate reverse back down. Wow. Kamal says, wow, 248.11. Would you have thought you were going to buy SPY at 248 a couple weeks ago? Absolutely not, Kamal. I was amazed when I was buying the overnight trade up at, what was it, 330? 330? And now we're at 248? It's just crazy. Ramble says, I think trust in the Fed and Trump is waning, to say the least. Well, I agree, Ron. The thing that really stuck out to me is that we had this announcement from the Fed. We initially rallied on it, and then the market said, we don't care, right? Lowest Dow since June 2017. Come on, Greg. From a strategy point of view, is the overnight SPY trade worse than your other regular trading this year? It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Is it worse than the others? Similar. Everything's been bad. But as you know, Kamal, I've mentioned this many times, but just like I don't want to just use one, I don't want to, have only tech stocks. With my trading approaches, I want to have different approaches as well. Some longer term, some short term. I want to have different approaches. So the SPY trade, although definitely negative this year, right, in a big way, it makes sense to me because it gives me some diversification in my approaches. But is it worse than other strategy? It's probably the same, but something tells me it is maybe a little bit worse just because the overnight trades have been so brutal. Andrea, honestly, right now, I am most worried about the folks that are going to die as a result of our government's inability to take the right action. Yeah. I mean, it's very sad. It's just sad for everybody. It's sad with people with jobs. It's sad for people with their health. I mean, it's just, the whole thing is unbelievably horrible. I'm sure everybody saw that the NBA's been canceled for the rest of the year. It's a that's, sad for fans and the workers at the stadiums, and probably everyone saw two Utah Jazz players, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, have it, and that's what shut it down. It's very sad, Andrea. Kamal says, we can post links here. The stories coming out of Italy are terrible. Oh, we cannot post links here. Yeah, I've read some things. Mount Doji says, if Biden wins, he inherits another crisis. Yeah, it's going to be, whoever's president, it's going to be a cluster. Ramble says, yeah, I hear Italy's hospital system is about to collapse. Their IC units can't take it. Glenn says, I live in downtown Toronto in the middle of the Asian community, and they are all terrified. Canada has not been hit as bad as the other countries, thankfully. That's what Dems do, MT. Oh, Mount Doji. Andrea, yeah, I had some super awesome ticks for next week's Celtics Knicks games. Oh, bummer. But sad. But in the big scheme of things, with people losing jobs, I mean, I guess it could be worse, right, Andrea? Mount Doji, NBA, MLM, NHL, all gone. Golf and esports for entertainment. Kamal, Andrea, the stadium is safe now. You can go watch the park, enjoy the weather. Well, I'm grateful everyone's here. It's been nice to kind of watch this with other people instead of just by myself. So thank you, everybody, for coming. At least we can observe this together and get different opinions, right, from each other. The NCAA, they're gone as well. Yeah, I stopped going to the gym also. Andrew says, yeah, I'm not saying it's any big deal. Yeah, of course. Well, it's been a tough one. I've said this a few times today, but listen, if you've had losses, and anybody who's been long, I'm sure has, please have a good talk with yourself and just take the next day as any day. It's just a new day. Don't try to go rushing back in to try to make your losses. It's just not a good policy. And more often than not, you're going to lose money. And listen, we're going to have some big rallies. I'm sure of it. Obviously, I don't know when, but I'm going to have big rallies. But boy, scary to buy these rallies, right? Scary to buy these rallies. For me, I've moved everything down to a quarter or a half a position, which is one way to continue to take trades if you have them, but adjust for the volatility. Mount Doji says, with all these sports gone, I imagine betting is suffering. Oh, yeah. Well, Dr. Jorgensen, I don't know if he's still in the chat there, but he has a friend that works in Las Vegas, bartender, works all the events, all the casinos. Said it's like a ghost town. Like Wynn Casino has like 20% occupancy, where normally they're 96%. So, he says it's a ghost town. Well, let's take a look at them. Caesars, this is going to be ugly. Down 20% today. Las Vegas Sands down 9. Penn National Gaming down 22%. Bing, he says, Greg, if this whole thing lasts for months, do you plan to wait it out? I guess you may have enough capital to last you through. Well, I'm just going to take setups when they come. Things will turn around. Even if it's a dead cat bounce, it will turn around. I mean, eventually the market just can't go down forever. Market's a living, breathing thing. So, there's going to be ups and downs in human emotions. So there's going to be ups and downs in in the market. I said earlier, I may start taking trades based off of support on the weeklies, because that's about the only thing that has support underneath it anymore, are the weeklies. But I would make my trades at the end of the week based upon that, and my position size would probably be, definitely at least a half or a quarter of what my normal positions would be, because on the weekly you have more movement. So as long as I have a legit signal either on the weekly or the daily, I'll take it, but I'll reduce my position size. Zach said, I had to do home gym myself today. Oh, so Zach's not going either. Has anybody been to a gym in the last couple days? Anybody notice a difference in the amount of people there? I'm sure it's got to be less, right? I'm sure it's got to be less, but I haven't been. So if any of you have, let me know. Kamal says BA and FB, same price. Boeing 154.82. Wow, Facebook 154.46. So very, very close. Ultra did beat on earnings. Ultra Salon. Well, let's see what that be interesting to see what their doing in after hours. Well, up 2.25%. That's something. Hey, so listen, just real quick, want to put in my quick little daily plug and just let everybody know that I do teach private one-on-one coaching and teaching lessons in the evening time via Skype. I really like to teach. I've had great success with my clients. I do have a course. It's 5 sessions. Each session is between 2 and 3 hours. It's just you and I. Real intensive one-on-one. I teach you everything that I've learned over the last 24 years as a full-time trader from my teachers and mentors like Stephen Burns and Dr. Alexander Elder and Carrie Lavorne and Larry Williams, all the things that I've developed myself. So it is a really good course. I think, I teach everything I teach here, I teach in that course, but the difference is, here I speak and you listen and watch and so forth. But in the course, I teach, I ask you a lot of questions. I have you explain it back to me. We do a lot of chart study. I put you on the spot, break this chart down for me. What looks good? What looks bad? Risk to reward. What's our entry? What's our next kind of trade? So a lot of repetitions, So, if you've been thinking about it, please let me know. If you would like to reach out to me, you can send me an email. The description's in the video or the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. But before I take on a new student, I do like to have a Skype call with them. It's free and there's no obligation. I promise you. Never want to pressure anybody to take the lessons. I promise you that. But I just like to see if we're going to be a good match. Time availability, what your expectations are. But I like to learn more about you and what your strategies are and what your experience has been with trading, what your challenges have been, what your goals are. And then you can ask me anything, but I think you'd be happy that you took it. It is $1,000, but I think it's well worth the money. And I have quite a few students right here at the moment. So if, it might be a couple weeks out, but reach out to me and at the very least we can have that Skype call and put a face with the name. The description's in the email's in the description, and then you can send me a message, private message on Twitter as well. And then if you like today's podcast, if you find it helpful, I really would appreciate it if you could just take a, half a second and click the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. It helps build the channel and shows Google that there's some good content. So if you could, before you get out of here, I would really, really appreciate it. Kamal says, no gym for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, that's right. You did mention that. He says, market will turn around, but our capital will not. I think it will over time, but I don't think make it back quickly. I think trying to make it back quickly is the issue. Zach says, I was there Monday and Tuesday and it was a ghost town. Oh, no kidding. Interesting, Zach. Andrew says, I stopped going to the gym weeks ago. Good. Glenn says, our condo swimming pool has been closed for 2 weeks. Wow. Zach says, like the OK Corral. Claudia, hey, what's going on? Claudia, nice to see you. Hey, Greg and everyone. One might speculate that Netflix is going to gain subscribers. I think people had that thought with Netflix back here because it was going up when the market's going down, but today it just gave up the ghost. Imagine how many productions they have that are being shut down. Dan says, I do Walmart pickup, convenient and a good way to avoid the crowd. Stay safe. Good day and good night, everyone. Thank you, Dan. I've heard someone else tell me that yesterday. Also, Frank says, obviously the government will have to step in to stabilize the economy with monetary and fiscal policy. Yes. Dr. Jorgensen says, market tanks. Desert has a flood warning. No bike riding. Maybe should start drinking. Good hike. Thanks, Bruce. What a day. Would you even believe me if a few weeks ago I would tell you that a normal day would be 1,000-point day and a big down day would be 2,300? That's just unbelievable. This is fear. This is worse than the 2008, 2009. This is worse than anything I've ever seen. Okay. Frank says, problem is the good stocks get sold to raise money to cover the bad. 100% true, Frank. You see gold down today, $60. Probably some of that's true with gold. People are just dumping everything. I showed you Bitcoin, which I'm not, a big fan of or really don't follow. But that got clobbered today. But you're right. Listen, when you start getting into margin calls, brokers are going to sell whatever you have. And you're right. People sell the good stocks as well as the bad stocks. One, just because of fear, or two, because they're starting to get margin calls. But I have noticed that whenever margin calls come into effect, they're just forced selling. In my opinion, don't take my word on this, but just in my opinion and my observations, that's always been a decent place to buy. But yeah. CLX. Oh yeah, Clorox is down also. I think Frank got out of Clorox up at the top, right, Frank? Unreal. Pretty epic. Pretty epic. So no trades today. No trades today except for the overnight SPY trade. Half position. I was thinking about MasterCard, but it gave up the 30 RSI, so I didn't take that either. Well, does anybody else have any comments or questions or observations? Simon James. Hi, Simon. Hi, Greg. Great channel, by the way. Thank you, sir. When you do a day trade, do you use market like end of day trades or limit orders typically? Simon, generally on a day trade, I use market orders, but I generally trade, stocks that have really narrow bid-ask spreads. So yeah, I use markets like I do with the end of day. Yeah. Kamal, when your friend sells Apple, that might be an indicator to buy. Oh, I know, Kamal, but he won't. He won't sell it. I know that. But yeah, sometimes you have those people when they give up. Like, I hate to say it, but sometimes that is an indicator to buy. Glenn says, I wonder if Mr. Buffett is getting greedy. Yeah, Warren Buffett, Berkshire had $133 billion worth of cash, and he's smart enough not to buy up there at the top. Yeah, I imagine he's interested in maybe going shopping. Frank says, yes, I did good. Good. Claudia says, doing well, losing small. Nice. Glad to hear that, Claudia. Good to see you again. Kamal says, Buffett is going to have a lot of time to get greedy. He ain't dip buying. I doubt we are going to see V recovery. Yeah, maybe an L at the best. Ramble says, aren't the Fed's rate cuts and the tax breaks all monetary policy that's been using to prop up this market? That's what a lot of people say, Tax breaks, rate cuts, buybacks, all that kind of stuff. Frank says, pick a bottom, any bottom. We have lots of them. True. Glenn says, positive divergence on viewers today. 42 on Friday the 28th. Today, 32. People are getting afraid to look at the market. Great signal that the short-term bottom is very close. Oh, interesting. Interesting observation. That makes sense. That's the Gossett trading divergence indicator. That's great, Glenn. Thank you. Okay, well, listen, if you have any other questions, just type them in the chat. In the meantime, I'll just leave you off with a couple things. One, please try to go out and do something nice for somebody today, just a smile or a wave or hello, just a nice gesture, a kind gesture to a human or an animal. Both would be best, right? Because you really might turn somebody's day around just with the slightest, smallest gesture. And so just try to make it a habit every day, right? It could really make their day, and maybe somebody will do it for you one day as well. And then what was my second one? Oh, yeah. Like button, if you don't mind, if you can remember on the way out. Simon says, even with small bid-ask spreads, I say Apple, for example, do you market orders? Yes, sir, I do, Simon. Yep, I do use market orders on those because the small bid-ask spread. He says, there is an RSI divergence in the index chart. Why is the price still not going up? What index? Oh, RSI divergence. Yeah. Well, they are divergences there for sure. But divergences don't really mean anything. Until you have some kind of upward trigger. Like it's setting the stage, yes, down, we're going down, 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 low, not as low, this is about equal. But whether it's a MACD divergence, an RSI divergence, an ATR divergence, they don't really mean anything until you have some kind of confirmation of the way up. Jackson, hey, what's going on, my friend? How you doing? How are things in Australia? Jackson says, thanks, or JT says, thanks so much. You are welcome, JT. Appreciate you coming as always, sir. Jackson says, hope you are all doing well. Sorry, been too early here for me, but hope trades haven't been too beat up in this market. Have you had any trades at all, Jackson? Claudia says, thank you, Greg. I'm here every day listening. Your content is too good. Thank you, Claudia. Always nice to hear from you and read your comments. My goodness, what a cluster of clusters of clusters. All right. Okay, well, remember, go out and do something nice for somebody today, okay? And interesting, strange times, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Greg Jackson says, I have had a few, Greg. Thanks. Select but profitable. What a time, eh? That's an understatement, isn't it? How are things in Australia, Jackson? Have you noticed? I mean, are a lot of people at the stores? Is it a ghost town? Thanks, Bing He. Thanks, Dan. All right. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. Thanks, Andrea. All right. Okay. Well, I'll see everybody tomorrow, huh? Have a good one. Bye-bye now. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.